Welcome to the Dice and Desire second anniversary birthday year bash chatty talk, as it's unofficially known. My name is Nate Peterson, the DM for Dice and Desire, and I'm joined by two absolute lads of the highest order. You know them as Daboff and Dweezil. I know them as Dick Sniff and Cheesy Balls. It's Luke and Stuart.
Which one's which?
Oh, it's up to you. I don't distinguish. I just know that collectively that's your name.
You've never seen a separate, yeah. So
it's a bit like Ant and Dec. It depends which way you're stood.
Right.
So as I'm looking at you right now, Stuart would be Dick Sniff and you'd be Cheesy Balls.
Brilliant. Glad all the audience are thinking of my balls and their cheesiness.
Well, I mean, we've had weeks and months worth of Manscaped adverts, so if they're not thinking about your balls already,
yeah,
they've clearly not been listening.
Yeah, I've clearly not been advertising it well enough, which is probably why they don't sponsor us anymore.
And they've also
and why my balls are so...
Not been using the ball deodorant enough either, by the smell of it.
Yeah, that is exactly why my balls are cheesy. Exactly.
Said Dick Sniff. Maybe you're using it too much. You keep sniffing it. You're like, oh, it's quite nice down there.
Is it my own that I'm sniffing, or is it other people's?
I don't know.
Like a Labrador, just goes around.
How are you both? First and foremost,
good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
Yep,
pretty good.
Either of you want to elaborate on that, or we just going with good? Is that how we?
Just gone good.
It's gone cold, hasn't it?
It's got chilly.
I thought it meant the atmosphere. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, as I tweeted the other day, I've started wearing hoodies around the house because it's just I'm waking up and it's cold. An old person getting up, it's cold.
Have you got a onesie?
I don't have a onesie. No, I think I'd get too hot in that. Just traps too much of the heat, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't I know it with my cheesy balls?
I imagine you've got a onesie, haven't you? Because you're a furry, aren't you, Luke?
I don't actually have a onesie, other than the one that is actually made of fur. So yeah, I do have a fur onesie, but it's part of my Frank the Bunny costume. It's part of fancy dress and not part of some weird kink that I have. So yeah, I have a fur.
What do you have that's part of you? What do you have as part of your weird kink?
Oh, how long have you got? Just like, just a whole basement full of cheese, by the sounds of things. In more ways than one.
But only today. If you were reversed, then you'd be Dick Sniff. So don't worry about it. It's just today you're Cheesy Balls.
Oh, do we alternate? Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it depends on which way.
One of us gets cheesy, the other sniffs it. Brilliant. Jesus.
Why are we here?
That's a bit deep.
Why are we here? Why are we doing this?
We've been doing the podcast for 2 years, haven't we, lads? 2 years.
Yeah,
there we go.
And it's definitely not because everyone else is on holiday at the minute.
Yeah, it's worth noting. I didn't select necessarily Stuart and Luke as guests.
You
for
feel
this
special,
just
Stuart.
because they're good. It's because the Chaos triplets are all away on holiday, independently. Although weird that they all booked it off at the same time. But
they've all gone to the same place, haven't they?
Luke's basement.
And Fowl?
Yeah. 2 barbarians, 1 cunt. I don't know. Couldn't think of anything that rhymed with cup. And it still didn't.
Poor Mike that got that. They're all away. So this would normally be a recording weekend. We'd normally be playing, and I thought, well, rather than just wasting an evening, given the timing of it all, it would be nice to have a little chat with a couple of the other guys that are on the podcast, catch up about the podcast, the game, and just do something a little bit different as a bit of a reward, I guess, for all the supporters that have stuck with us for the last couple of years, or unless they've just started listening last week, in which case you're being rewarded for listening to one episode. So probably still deserve it. Who wants to recap the story so far as per the podcast? It's obviously worth noting that we record many months in advance. So, be careful of spoilers. But where are we on the podcast between you?
I think we've just left Amphale, haven't we?
We've just left Tribor and got to Yarta.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's
so we started off in Nightstone. Then we went to a cave. I nearly died. Then we went back to Nightstone. Then we went to Amphale and played some games. Fought some hill giants. Acquired a goat. Left Amphale and spent some time in a flying castle with a cloud giant with a silly voice. Fought some knobheads. Luke got drugged by one of our own party. Then we went to Tribor, did some stuff. Left Tribor, went back to left Tribor. And then we're about to go into, and we're just entering Yartar.
Just entered. There we go. That was where you started getting a bit.
Yeah.
Telling everyone everything else that was going on.
Spoilers.
Anything to add, Luke? Anything that Stuart's missed there? Critique him on his. I mean, he's missed off something very, very personal to Dabov. Something that's happened to Dabov and continues to happen.
Yeah, someone questioned my my thieving abilities in episode 103. Not that I'm remembering it. Actually, no, it's 104. Sorry, 103 is where the disagreement started, and episode 104 is where it reached its logical conclusion. But yeah, and I've also been cursed as well for my thieving. So that's fun. I'm not bitter about that either.
That was all the way back in Nightstone right at the beginning as well, wasn't it? When you broke into a midwife's house and stole her medical kit, didn't you? That's what you did.
Yeah, Luke. Destiny and her child is what who I stole from. You know, literally the first thieving I got to do, and Nate was like, "Nah, that's not happening again. Enjoy being useless for the rest of forever." As I said, not bitter about it though.
No. Totally you'll be pleased. You'll be pleased to know that that's nothing to do with the story. That's stuff that I've thrown in there myself.
Oh.
That's got absolutely,
that's personal.
Most people playing Storm King's Thunder wouldn't even have done that. They would just let you go on your merry way. But I'm a forgiving. No, I'm a giving DM. But yeah, how is the curse?
You could say I'm a bit hot and cold with it. Really, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Bit of a pain in the ass, if I'm honest.
Yeah, obviously, as I say, we record well in advance, so we can't let on whether or not that curse is still ongoing or not in the real time. But where Dabov is right now, I presume he's very much looking forward to shifting it on, not having to deal with it, possibly just dying out of just boredom of having it.
Yeah, I don't know if it happens if I reach into my own pockets, but eventually that's probably going to catch up with me. Just in and out, just easy way out, really, isn't it? It's a bit dark.
I mean, you've got 4 other party members you could just do it to if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's a good excuse not to pay for stuff at bars, though. Like, I'd love to pay for the meal, lads, but I've only got 3 hit points left. Like, don't want to take that chance.
What's been your favourite place so far?
Wow!
Out of all those ones that you've mentioned, so Nightstone, we'll right off the cave because I think you all nearly dying probably doesn't endear you.
Soured it a bit.
Yeah. So you got Nightstone, Amphale, Tribor, and let's count Zephyros' castle as well.
No,
you were there for a while.
Didn't enjoy Zephyros' castle. Uncomfortable way to travel. I took a lot of hit points just bouncing off the walls. I think it feels like we spent the biggest chunk of time in Tribor, and that's where I feel like we've got the strongest roots as a party.
Yeah.
We've got proper mates there. We've got places that we know. It's only a small town. We're basically heroes there. We didn't really do anything bad there, unlike everywhere else.
Krill tried.
Yeah.
Krill tried to buy the bar owner's dogs
We did,
on night
yeah.
well, it actually did, and also fought a fairly noble guy, or tried to fight the Gelrin Foehammer. He tried his best.
Yeah, but it all ended up okay in the end. Gelrin likes Krill now, thinks he's a legend.
We did try and sneak into that guy's house, though, didn't we?
But he was a bit weird, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, showing up at someone's house in the middle of the night and accusing them of being a nonce is a really good way to make friends. I think that was like the second thing we did in the town, wasn't it?
But he, I don't think he left you on. You didn't leave him on particularly bad terms.
No.
I mean,
we did fight his
certainly
gargoyles.
not Dweezil. You did fight his gargoyles, but they were just
kicked in his front gate. I forgot about that.
We were left on good terms.
And Dweezil left with a book from there.
True.
Can you remember the name of the book?
New ones for old ones.
Close, the other way round. Old ones for new ones.
For new ones by Canny and Can.
Shankan, Canny and Co.
Shankan, Canny and Co.
Nice.
A beginner's guide to warlockery.
That's the one. Yeah.
Which I don't know whether he's been reading it. I don't know. Greg got a book from Amphal when he read through it about how to kill Celestials, whereas I don't know whether Dweezil's been looking at his kids' book.
Yeah, I think Dweezil's flipped through it a bit. It's interesting reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned they're giants. That's obviously the overarching story of Storm King's Thunder. Is yeah. Which you wouldn't have thought so after 2 years of listening to this podcast, because you fought, 2 sets of giants?
Yep. Yeah, the hill giants in Amphale and those fire giants in Tribor.
Are you looking forward to more giants? Do you want to tackle more giants?
They're hard work, aren't they? Like, they take a lot of killing.
A bit spongy.
Yeah.
You've been quite you've been quite fortunate. The first one you came up with, the 3 hill giants, it's fair to say you were struggling. I'm not going to say that they were going to necessarily kill you, but you were struggling with them quite a lot. And luckily, after you killed 1, 2 of them ran away. So if those other 2 had carried on, it'd be very interesting to know whether there would have been a death at that point, potentially.
Yeah.
So I think Krill went down at one point in that battle, maybe.
Krill used to go down a lot in battle. It used to be a regular occurrence, but not so much now.
So that was against the bandits, wasn't it? I forget what they were called.
The 7 snakes.
7 snakes in Nightstone. Yeah, he went down.
Yeah, because I hid in a house and did fuck all.
You just kept jumping in and out of the window.
Yeah, gotta get my cardio in.
But unlike Krill, you waited for there to be sort of no glass in that window, whereas he goes through glass windows whilst they're still there.
Yeah, he hasn't done that for a while, to be fair.
He hasn't been given the opportunity.
You have described glass windows to him.
Although he did jump out of the window recently as you were leaving Tribal.
He did.
That's true. Yeah.
It was an open window though, fortunately for him.
Yeah. Quinch as a parachute.
What is wrong with our party? Why do they get so much joy in terrorising each other?
Don't know. Not hugged enough as children. I don't know.
Krill certainly hasn't been.
Yeah. I just remembered Stuart's Dweezil's savage line with the in the 104, I think. Was it? Do you think your dad will love you more if you have those gems?
Yeah.
It was just so savage and instant. I loved it.
Would the circus stick together, do you think?
I think that there are there is a rift between the kind of moral viewpoint of some of the party. I think there's been occasions where when Greg intervened at the end of the fire giant fight, that could very easily have, created a bit of a rift. Krill's insistence on taking money was quite a big rift. But I do think that. So I think it's weird that Quinch, Dabov, and Dweezil seem to not really hate each other, and work together as a team quite well. Whereas there have been occasions where, well, only that one occasion with Greg. So to be fair, Krill more often in it.
I think Greg comes across quite morally grey. Like I get the impression that he's probably good on the alignment chart, but at the same time, I feel like he would be up for doing some dodgy shit if he needed to. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like he could. I feel like Greg could justify doing some bad to do some good, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
There's a bit of
Great,
a bit of rogue. There's a bit of rogue in
Yeah.
Greg to me.
yeah. Bit of. Oh no, I was going to do another spoiler there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting where we've actually got up to and where we've played to.
Can't make that joke. Yeah.
No, you can't.
No.
Not yet. No.
I haven't figured out what
probably
joke you're going for.
Probably not as far away as you'd like to think.
Well, I reckon it is. I reckon it's a good 6 months before we can make that joke.
Oh, interesting. Fair enough. What, spoilers aside, what do you want to see? What would you, as if you were listening to the show, what would you like to be seeing coming down the road from where they are, where the characters are right now? We're about to head into Yartar, which the listeners do know. Like, what would you want? What would you like to hear from the rest of this year, for argument's sake, on episodes?
What if we were the audience?
Yeah, if you were the audience and you'd been through this story so far with them, what would you be wanting to hear the circus doing?
Just working together, I guess.
Well,
would be
yeah,
nice.
working together. I think ultimately as well, doing something good, following through on something, actually achieving something heroic. Because there haven't been that many heroic things. We stepped in and won a couple of fights.
We did protect the town from the giants. That was
Yeah.
quite good, but that's probably the only thing so far.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
How much of that is you wanting to be heroic and you just itching for a fight, though, sort of thing? Like, I feel like the murder mystery that you went through and Tomara finding out what happened to her husband, that was somewhat, although you were employed to do so, it was somewhat heroic. You sort of solved a thing and gave some peace to some family members of the deceased.
Yeah, we also, even doing that, managed to not be particularly good people.
Yeah.
We took advantage of an alcoholic.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Then made him change his accent for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, and kind of pretended to be his god.
Yeah, we gaslit an alcoholic. We
we kidnapped an old woman. Who, to be fair, did turn out to be the murderer.
Yeah, we catfished an old woman first as
That's
well,
true.
didn't we?
Yeah, catfish and kidnap. Classic. Yeah, we're not good people, are we?
Not really.
I mean, I'm a rogue. I can kind of justify it, but you guys, I expected better. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I think my favourite thing, and it was called out on the show, I think my favourite thing about Dabov was way back in Nightstone when Dweezil decided to call everyone to arms and basically sort of say, look, we need to work together to a more common goal, and this is why I want to do this. I want to, I believe in this as a group and all that sort of stuff, and being very rousing speech. And then Dabov literally followed it straight away with, just remember, I don't have to run faster than them, I have to run faster than you.
Yeah.
Basically saying that aside from being a group, he'll just ditch the rest of them.
Best thing is, I had 25 movement speed. That was never going to happen at the time. It just wasn't. Yeah. It was an empty threat.
What about you, Luke? Anything that you want the group to be doing? Again, avoiding what we have actually done.
It's
Just-
really, really weird question. You've already
Yeah.
played the game. You've already done like another 6 months of playing from where we are. What do you think should happen next, not including the things that actually happen?
Yeah.
Well, again, the trouble is, I could say to you, what would you two want to happen? But like you say, because you've paid 6 months, there's a big gap between where the listeners are and where you are. And so you could go, oh, well, I can't wait for Dweezil to use his new third arm that he's inherited through magical meat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I personally would like to find a belt of giant strength because I think that would be fucking hilarious. And I want to give it to Vin. Just have an absolutely ripped weasel. And,
not even resized,
oh yeah, just dragging it around, but with the added
Just tied.
strength, like he'll be fine.
just tied up. It just goes round and round and round him.
It'd just be like a tube of like leather with a weasel in the middle.
Tube of giant strength.
Yeah, and just a really swole weasel in the middle of it. Just fucking hell, that would be funny.
That item is it's just the bane. It's just the bane of my life because there's you know, I don't mind. Sam's hopefully going to listen to this one day.
One day.
Well, he's on holiday at the moment, so
True.
he might not listen to it straight away. But you know, obviously, I am a DM that likes my players to, you know, have a good time and enjoy being at the table. But the amount he's asked for it, I just don't know if I want him to have that ever. Just don't know if
He's kind of like caught now because like we have. I don't know if we told people we've kind of put requested magical items, haven't we? And I think that was
Yeah.
one of Sam's, so it's always potentially on the card for him to get it. But now that
Yeah.
he's asked for it so much, do you give it to him and like make it this big moment, or do you just drag it along because it's funny?
Well, it's sort of like being a parent, really. You know what the good thing is, the right thing to do, which is to not give him the belt. You know, so they can learn to
That's
stand
got
up on his
double
own.
meanings when it comes to kids, giving them the belt. Jesus, didn't realize you were that sort of parent, Nate. Christ.
Well, you know, it's tough times. But at the same time, you know, there's just to stop the noise. To be honest, it's just. But who knows? He'll move on to something else, and I'll give him the giant strength, and he'll be just the next giant. You know, I'll give him hill giant, and he'll be like, "Well, where's my fire giant strength?"
Yeah,
now.
or just notice Quinch's gems again. That was like what, last episode before, depending on when we release this.
Not long ago, yeah. Okay. Well, aside from all that, I wanted to talk to you about you as people, about you as well, not just as people, but your sort of not the game side of the podcast, but the actual podcast side of it. Obviously, you two are the technical whizzes behind there being a podcast. Luke, as most people will know, does the editing of the show, and Mr. Stuart Bullock does the wonderful intro songs. Stuart, I'm going to start with. How are you finding that over 100 episodes in? How are you finding still doing that on a weekly basis and still trying to keep it unique, I guess, each week?
It's mad, isn't it? I nearly repeated a song recently.
What was the song? Do you remember?
Great question. Can't remember. Flying Without
I
Wings.
don't know that one.
Flying Without Wings.
Okay.
For the episode where Quinch and Krill jump out of the window. And I just remembered at the last minute. No, I've already done that one. It's a challenge. It is a challenge, and sometimes I get to the podcast comes out on a Wednesday. Sometimes I get to kind of Tuesday night, Monday night, Tuesday daytime. Think, why have I not already done this song? And always manage to get something done. Every now and again, I ask you guys if you've got any ideas, any inspiration when I'm lacking it. usually what happens is I say, I can't think of a song to do this week. You give me an idea of a song to do, and I ignore your idea and do something entirely different. But just that process is what helps me find the inspiration.
Yeah.
Giving you the wrong answers.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, you've gone from every song ever made to every song ever made minus one.
Yeah.
It's just narrowed the field a little bit.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a body of work, isn't it? It's 100 and... How many episodes have we done? 105?
Yeah, it's 104 songs.
No, 103.
103.
Because Catamon did one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still are you enjoying the process though? Do you?
Yeah, I enjoy it when it's done. I need to get into a better habit than doing them on a Tuesday night, because it's just a bit stressful, innit? And then when I finish it, when I do it, I go, "Yep, that's done. That's done now." When I enjoy the relief. But no, I do. It's a challenge to get something, to do something every week. I've got get a bit of a system, and once I've got the idea, the process itself is good, but that worrying about not having an idea is like, it's not genuinely, because behind the curtain today is a bank holiday, so I haven't been in work, and therefore it still feels like the weekend, but tomorrow I have to do a song, and I'm not yet panicking because it feels like the weekend, but then tomorrow the panic will be even worse. So that'll be good.
Mm.
Yeah, probably won't sleep tonight.
I mean, obviously, it's one of those things that, like, some of the thongs.
You haven't done the thong song yet.
I haven't.
Oh.
No. Well, there you go. That's that song. You can have this week. Just make it fit somehow. I don't know how.
I mean, we have got that sexy episode coming up that I'm sure everyone's looking forward to.
The sexy episode.
They're all sexy episodes.
If it wasn't Greg taking an old woman out for a tiramisu, then I don't know what was the sexy episode. Yeah, obviously some of the songs you could probably have, like, if you've probably got a fairly good memory of how the story unfolded, and so when we're getting close to sort of a big event, for argument's sake, you could probably have back in mind something that would fit around that event. But then obviously some episodes are not. They're without disparaging anything, they're filler. Then there's no big event that happens in that episode, and so it's just going to be based on some stupid event that, like you said, like Krill or Quinch, jumping out windows, stuff like that, which is not. sorry to this is not a highlight of one of our podcast, not one of the big events of the show. But obviously for a song, it makes sense. So that's where I guess you're probably stuck, that you have to listen to the episode just in case there's some stupid fucking shit that one of the characters does. I think was the last one of the backflip.
Yeah, backflips and curses.
Brilliant.
Flips and curses.
Just a brilliant song. Just a brilliant choice. Didn't really build off anything major that happened in the episode, but it was just nice to give Dabo a moment, really, and highlight all of his.
That was entirely because it was the shit thief episode. So I thought, what would Dweezil do in this situation? And Dweezil would want to hype Daboff up. So I thought, let's just do a song about Daboff. Ignore pretty much everything that happened in the episode apart from backflips and curses.
Must have been nice for you, Luke. Have a bit of a Daboff moment in the song.
Yeah, I do like having songs about me. I am quite egotistical. It is good.
I sort of a little thing of the songs that I don't know if anyone would have picked up on or remembered, listener wise. Obviously, the first 2 or 3 that Dweezil did back way back in the day were very Quinch heavy. Were very much.
Yeah.
There was a story there about putting over his man. And yeah, just literally painting him in. I sort of miss those days somewhat. I miss the Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman relationship that you two used to have.
Yeah, it didn't last very long, did it? I think ultimately that was always intended to be the kind of dynamic there. But ultimately, it's very, very difficult to be the Paul Heyman to Quinch's Brock Lesnar when Quinch isn't really. He's quite hard.
What's happened?
Quite hard to hype.
What's happened is Dweezil's seen a better Barbarian. He's seen Krillin action and gone, I can't. How can I pitch this guy being the bringer of omens when this other green fella's just tearing through
Tribal Chief.
Yeah. Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't even pick up on that. Nice. Luke, I'm going to move over to you for the other side of the technical. The
How much do you hate editing the podcast, Luke?
The honeymoon period is well and truly over. The novelty is long gone after 2 years. But a lot of what I was about to call you Dweezil then. A lot of what Stuart was saying, like leaving it till the last minute, that maddening panic, because I edit on a Tuesday night as well, in time for the Wednesday morning like release time of, was it 6 a.m? So yeah, Tuesday night is very much get it done.
Tell them what happened last week, Luke.
Oh, what with the missing audio?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
Not the Sam mistake, the Luke mistake.
What was the Luke mistake?
You went to bed without editing the podcast, and then
yeah.
laying in bed and realised you hadn't done a podcast.
Oh yeah, that was fucking stupid. I can't remember why. I don't know if I had like the Monday off or something.
Because you'd already done the level up, and so you'd already felt a sense of achievement that you'd done something that week.
Possibly, but I hadn't finished that one either. I hadn't added the music to it. So yeah, normally I aim to edit between 10 and midnight, and then upload at about midnight on every Tuesday. I went to bed at half midnight, and then I wear contact lenses, so I'd already taken those out, and was literally laid in bed getting ready to fall asleep. I was like, oh shit, I haven't done an episode. So it was get back up. Like, I didn't put my contact lenses back in, so I was editing pretty much blind, like, I don't know, a couple of inches away from the screen, and just rushing through the episode. And I finished at about 1:30, I think, like an idiot. And just, yeah. I mean, normally, any time between midnight and 2 in the morning is when I go to bed anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But you know when you just think, what the fuck's wrong with you? I've done this every week for like, 2 years. And you just forget. I was like, I'm not missing an episode because I forgot. Like, we haven't missed an episode so far, and I'm not letting this be the first reason. It's just me being an idiot. So yeah, that was fun.
As I said in the messages, like it was obviously it's a cursed week because I'm happy to say that we also had an issue with missing audio as well. We now record on Zencaster, which basically I get all of the audio just sort of automatically sort of uploads to the server and I can download it. But up until May of this year, we were just recording independently on our Audacities, or do you use GarageBand? Do you, Stuart? Yeah. I think maybe, yeah. And then we'd upload our MP3 files to the Google Drive. One of our party, and I don't mind calling them out, one of our parties is more problematic than the rest of us in terms of promptly uploading that audio. And we hadn't noticed that his audio was not there. Sam. So yeah, we got to last week. I say Luke got to last week, went to download all of the new audio for the new session, and Sam's wasn't there. Sam's currently on holiday, so basically couldn't get the audio to us anyway. So hence why the last week and maybe the next 2 or 3 will feel probably a little bit different, maybe to others. I think it came out okay, but I think there was just a slight drop off in audio, maybe. Do you think?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was better than I was expecting. And they were quite calm sessions, or at least the first half hour to an hour that I've edited so far is quite calm. So there wasn't a lot of like talking over people, because obviously I can't edit certain people out if I've only got it as one track. So if someone coughs while someone else is talking, it has to stay in. Things like that. But it was better than I expected, and it's easier to edit with one track because there's not a lot I can do. So it wasn't too bad.
let's hope nobody got peckish in this
Yeah,
session.
don't know how I'd fix it. I just don't know. So yeah,
fingers crossed. You said that the honeymoon period is over. This is your first podcast?
Sort of. My first proper one. Through my sort of day job, I have edited a podcast. It was either 6 or 8 episodes. That was recorded separate tracks as well, but not. It was all in the same room, so each track kind of bled onto the other tracks, and it was just generally awful. So this one's a little bit easier to edit, and obviously 6 or 8 episodes, whatever it ended up being, I wouldn't call it a proper podcast that I've done for a long time.
105 episodes. I won't call this a proper podcast.
I mean, yes, fair point. Yeah, you think I'd have learnt some new techniques to get the audio quality better after over 100 episodes, but nah, still shit. It's fine.
Sadly, you've got 5 other people that do everything they can to diminish your task.
Oh, yes. Sometimes I think it's intentional. Like, it has to be at times, but
right.
fine.
Here's the thing,
love you all.
Like sometimes
Absolutely.
when you're playing D&D, like snacks are a big part of D&D. We've got an in-person game in 6 weeks' time, and we're already talking about the snacks that we're having, right? But when you're recording a podcast, why would you eat croutons? Like, why would you eat croutons of all the snacks in the world?
That was somewhat mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And you'd think that'd be in the first 10 or so episodes when we're still new, but nah, that was around. I don't even know if it's been released yet, actually, has it?
No, it's not. It was only about a month or so ago, wasn't it?
Spoilers. There we go.
Yeah. You get to see how I edit that out in about another 6 months' time.
I think leave it in. I think that one in particular was so chaotic, that moment, that I think there's probably some good comedy in there.
Yeah. I mean, I might have to. I might not be able to do it because it's not too bad. Like the food thing. It's when people react to it and then it becomes part of the conversation. And then finding that natural break to actually edit it out ends up being the more difficult part. But when something was that loud, there was no way. Like, whoever was talking, they just had to stop. It was so distracting, even from a gameplay point of view. It was just madness.
It was like the time that Sam rolled out a load of dice mid conversation, like started playing basketball with him or something on his desktop.
Yeah,
like you can't ignore that. Like, it's such a big noise. You cannot ignore that.
Yeah, it was just distracting. That was amazing. But
aside from the technical thing and the editing, which, as you say, is probably
the bane of my
I
existence.
suspect.
Yeah.
I suspect if you'd known this back in the early 2020, you might not have suggested the podcast. But
maybe.
How are you finding being part of your first ever podcast? Aside from that,
I know I've been complaining about the editing, but actually, it is all worth it in the end, just to see people enjoying it. Like, I think, was it Mosey today that posted that he was listening to it in New York?
Oh no, it was Mike.
Yeah,
that was it.
Mike Burnett.
Yeah, I was about to say Bill and the Hilltop. It was one of the names I recognised, just couldn't remember who. Just seeing him listen to it in the middle of New York is just like, it's just wild.
And that's a big accolade. I talked to Mike a fair bit, and from what I gather from him, he doesn't listen to many / any actual play podcasts. So, for him to have, I don't know when he started listening. I don't know if he's listened to every episode. I don't know if he just joined around the time that I had him on DM and DMer. So I don't really know how much he's listened to, but I know he's listened regularly for the last few months, year, whatever it may be. And as I say, for someone that doesn't necessarily listen to them regularly outside of our podcast, that's obviously that's where I like it, that someone's chosen to listen to us over the many other alternatives.
Yeah, and that, like, just to be honest and a little bit soppy, is the reason why I still carry on editing it. When sometimes it's really easy to edit, but then it's the days where it's like, just for fuck's sake, there's something in the background that I'm just like, why is that there after this many episodes? But then I just remember there's people that enjoy it and listen to it, and that's kind of why I carry on doing it, if that makes sense. Like, I probably paint it as more negative than it is. It's not awful editing the podcast, but it's a job. It's a fun job, but it's still a job, sort of thing. It just doesn't pay.
Get your Ko-fi subscriptions in, please, and we can help pay them. I think it's a thankless task, really, because obviously, as being a DM, obviously I'm up. Like, people can hear the work that I've put in. Stuart, people can hear the work that he's put in on the songs, and they know that it's him. Whereas with a podcast, because you're basically taking out shit rather than necessarily adding shit, it's people don't necessarily see how much hard work goes into it.
They only notice the things you do wrong with editing.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you accidentally left in, or the bits that aren't quite right. If you do a good job, the whole point is that no one notices it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the problem. Is that, it's and then everyone else, and then you get people loving Quinch because he's a chaotic idiot, whereas you've probably put in a lot more hard work.
I've had to. He's called.
I'm sure MJ won't mind me saying that you've probably put in a fair bit amount more work. Over the last 2 years. That maybe goes unnoticed.
He's the only person we've actually had to cut something. I think still.
I think so.
Yeah, the only possibly problematic thing. And it wasn't even that bad from what I remember. Actually, it was just
I think it's.
I can't actually remember what it was.
I think for us, it wasn't too bad. I think for
public consumption.
A fledgling podcast. I think certainly it was a good decision to have cut out.
Yeah, I think we erred on the side of caution with that one, rather than just instantly cancelled stuff. I don't want to paint MJ in a bad light.
No, and I think as well, he's learned from that. I think we've sort of we've had the occasional conversations, and I think it's something he's gone. Yeah, maybe I probably shouldn't have said that. Let's not forget. Early doors, first episode, he dropped a C-bomb. I'd
be interested to see people's opinions on that, because I edit it out, because I know some people don't like it. But I don't know whether that's just me being overly sensitive and people don't mind. I don't know, but I just know it's a bit of a divisive word, isn't it? As I've already said once in this episode, so...
Yeah, very true. And I won't be... I'll be editing this show, and I won't be editing that out.
Fair enough.
Right. I'm gonna wrap up this show with a couple of games, I guess.
Ooh.
First one. Game. Yeah, it's time for Quivia. No, it's not. It's not Quivia, I'm afraid. I did do pegging at my wedding though.
That's on record now, and a lot of people probably don't even know what you're on about. So well done, mate.
Exactly. Two sort of, they're not games, but two things. One of the things we've talked about a few times. For the story is branding and stuff. Can you think of how many brands / products can you think of in the Dyson Desire Storm King's Thunder world?
We just coming up with a number, or we just
no just it's not a game to win, or it's not to win or lose. It's more just a conversation piece.
So there's Burge Dunkel, the bridge builder. Curge Dunkel, the door maker.
Yeah.
Harriet Dunkel, the smith.
Yeah.
All three Dunkels. What else have we got?
There's a fourth Dunkel who very briefly appeared. Windows.
I vaguely remember that.
I think he was Lurge Dunkel.
Of course he was. We've obviously got Nuggies. I don't know if that's an official brand yet.
Dabov's definitely edible nuggies.
That was.
Yeah.
Did we ever reveal what DDEG stood for? I don't think we did. So. I remember we posted the picture, but I don't think anyone ever guessed it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. No one. I don't think anyone attempted to guess.
Yeah,
it,
no one cared. But yeah, Dabov's definitely edible nuggies. That was it.
Oh. Yeah.
Crimson Bullock.
Oh, of course.
Crimson Bullock.
We've had the Royal Armourer with the big logo on the front that Krill is now wearing with pride.
Girlfriend.
The big... Huh?
Yeah. Girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, the big G. Brilliant.
He's had a rough time. I mean, he brings it on himself, but he's had a rough time. He's got a shit tattoo.
Hang on.
He's got a shit tattoo covered with a shit logo on his shit armour. Yeah.
Are there any other brands? Dunkels, Gelrin, Crimson Bullock, Nuggies.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
I have a feeling there might be one we mentioned in passing, but probably not.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Quinch drops his occasional cocktails that he makes at bars.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, you sighed there a little bit, Stuart. What what has Quinch done that made got that reaction?
When he does the right, here's the thing, right? Dweezil is canonically asexual, right? that is.
Well, I don't think. I don't think he is. You say he's canonically,
But
it's never been.
No, it's not.
It's never been established though.
I'm establishing it now. I've been playing Dweezil as Ace for the
horny
for the entire thing. Whereas Quinch tells his little stories about Dweezil. Do you remember the time when you and I bombed 10 men in Garden Bridge? Like,
See, it's not as easy. It's not as easy as you think. The stuff he comes out with.
no. Yeah. They are funny though.
Yeah, I don't know how he comes up with it. I bet he's got them written down, ready to go.
I don't think he does. I think it would be easier for him just to read the book and learn some place names.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. He didn't even write his character sheet till 3 episodes in, so he definitely hasn't got notes.
It still tickles me that MJ probably thinks that or thought that's how you play D&D. Like everyone starts with no equipment whatsoever. They're like they arrive in the game like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator. You just turn up naked and you just whatever you find.
I forgot about that. To his credit, he was going to start as a monk, wasn't he, originally? And then we realised it was far too complicated for him. And we changed it to barbarian, but forgot to give him a sword.
He was going to play a monk, and he doesn't understand that there's like a pantheon of gods in D&D, and he thinks you can just make up gods as well, which is how we ended up with Chalupa in our guy.
Forgot of actually, but that's kind of another brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's a hot sauce, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. And we've got TripAdvisor as well. Ye old TripAdvisor, or whatever we end up calling it.
Not Lonely Island.
Lonely Traveller's Guide, yeah.
Yeah. That was Greg, wasn't it? I think came up with that.
Greg, that was prime. There's a few episodes there that were absolutely prime Greg.
Yeah.
What I like about Mike and Greg is that obviously the show is littered with some comedic stuff, but generally speaking, Mike and Greg takes a bit of a backseat to the rest of you. I think doesn't often try to push the story forward. Doesn't sort of impose himself too much. But then when he does, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
Like Mike's a very good role player, and that's not to say that anyone else isn't. But I think because he's not openly sort of pushing it constantly, like when he gets that moment in the sun, he uses it really, really efficiently.
Yeah.
So yeah. Last thing I wanted to do before we go out, another little game. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I thought, given it's got nothing to do with birthdays or anniversaries or anything like that, but sort of a similar celebration is like graduation. And what do people do at graduation? They do the whole most likely to so and so. So I've got some most likely categories.
Oh, I like this. This is an actual.
This
game.
sounds good.
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 9 of these, right? And obviously you can double up and whatever. Obviously there's only 5. There's only five players. But if you feel there's an NPC that might fit one of these better, feel free to. I was thinking of the main characters.
Most likely to be an absolute insufferable dick, Catamanda Piggins.
Is she the worst?
She's awful, terrible.
More than Amrath?
Yeah. I really didn't like him. Really didn't like him.
He called you a talker?
He did call me a talker.
Catamon just basically beat you at your own game.
Cheated though, really. So
how did she cheat?
Yeah, I mean, you I'm blaming Catamon, but really, it's not her fault, is it, Nathan?
Okay, why is it? Whose fault is it?
It's your fault, isn't it, Nathan?
And why is it my fault?
It's ultimately you decided that was going to happen.
I rolled dice, and the dice.
Did you though?
I gave you a game to play, and you lost the game.
Yeah,
Is one of the categories we've
Tyler,
got to
play
pick,
again.
most likely to fudge their rolls?
17.
All right, here we go. Most likely. These are called most likely, but they're not actually. So, best all-rounder.
Wow.
I
Well,
reckon Dweezil.
I don't want to put myself forward too much, but I mean that's basically Dweezil's job, isn't it? He does a bit of everything.
Yeah,
He's a full caster. He can carry himself in combat. He buffs everyone else. He's the healer.
yeah, and I think as well everyone else is kind of just a bit specialised, aren't they, for what they do?
Yeah, I think I would say Daboff would be in for the running if he had some healing ability.
Yeah,
because you do a lot of other stuff, but I think we can rule out Krill. I think Krill definitely isn't a
Min-max.
all-rounder.
well, Krill does one job very well. Queech doesn't do anything well. Greg does a couple of things very well.
Yeah, I think when I read this earlier, I would have said Dweezil. Biggest flirt.
Oh, it's Quinch, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a type, hasn't he?
Yeah. Man, he loves a man in uniform.
He does.
I was gonna say breathing, but then I remember Lady Nandar.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Probably the same answer for this one. Class clown.
Yeah. Quinch. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a buffoon.
Do you have to be intentionally trying to be funny? Because obviously Quinch, I don't think is trying to make people laugh. He's just a bit of a dunce.
Yeah, but MJ, it's MJ, isn't it? It's impossible to separate the two of them. Quinch isn't trying to make people laugh, but MJ absolutely is.
Quinch doesn't, MJ does.
Yeah.
Any NPCs that would fit in that? Zephyros? He'd be in with a shout, wouldn't he?
He wasn't funny. He was just senile.
Oh.
And German.
He wasn't funny.
He wasn't funny. He was German.
Fair enough.
Who's been a funny NPC?
Papa was quite funny.
He was funny, wasn't he? I liked Papa. He was good. I'm
sure I've had a few, but I can't remember.
I mean, Basher and Thrasher. I don't think they were particularly funny, but the name of them. Cutest couple.
Quinch and Kent.
Well, I said cute, not violently sexual.
I'd say Daboff and Analki, but
she hates him.
It's not happening, is it?
It's basically Pepe Le Pew and the cat skunk, which I probably shouldn't have called her in hindsight.
Greg and Mel and the murderer.
Yeah. Krill and Mosey.
Krill and Sebastian. Krill and
any animal or child.
What about Dweezil and Daboff?
Dweezil and Daboff. There's a little bromance going on, isn't there?
There definitely is.
Yeah.
At least from one side of things. Spoilers. No, I don't think there is. Have there been many other couples? There was that handsome man and his weirdly ugly wife.
Narth and his wife, Narth's wife.
Oh, God,
can't remember her name.
She was that ugly.
Well, I want to say Urgler, but that was the barmaid, wasn't it?
No, she's the.
God, what was her name?
Yeah, we only are attempting to rescue her son. It's not like she was important or anything.
No. Tomara and her dead husband.
So many dead people.
Tomara and a bedpan.
Yeah. Life of the party.
Wow.
I don't know now. I might.
I mean, it's got to be Dweezil again, isn't it? With being a bard.
It depends what you mean by life. Like, if you mean like liveliest and most excitable, it's got to be Krill, surely.
Yeah, Dweezil's not really a bardy, but like, I don't think Dweezil's a bard stereotype in any way.
We haven't seen it yet, but I could imagine Greg. Like, I could imagine if he turned up, if he accidentally stumbled upon a kegger,
a crate of Crimson Bullock.
He'd get absolutely, he would tear it up.
I bet he's got some stories in his long life.
Quinch's Cocktails is It's
Quench's cocktails.
party time, in it as well.
Yeah, and his promiscuity. I reckon he's a bit of a party lad. He would be the Michelangelo of our group.
Geordie
what about Geordie?
Geordie
Geordie
Dogood with his
Dogood.
potions. Yeah, that's the life of
Yeah.
the party. That's what I'm talking about here, mate. Yes. Get a potion inside you. You'll have a great time.
Most athletic.
Oh,
Krill.
big green dickhead. Yeah.
When you say that, the big blue dickhead does a lot of cardio as well.
Running
In the
away.
wrong direction, yeah.
Yeah. We should probably tie like a rope to them and have some sort of like tug of war.
I'd be interested to see who's moved the most in our game. I reckon Dabov's in the running because he tends to run away and come back again.
He does, yeah.
So I reckon and his short little legs that gives him advantage on distance travelled.
I did a thing for the 100th episode where I counted up all the kills. I'm not doing feet travelled.
Yeah, I remember that because I came bottom, aka most useless.
Nicest, pacifist. Most changed.
Ooh.
I know who I think it is, or who I would say, but I want to see what your feelings were.
I reckon Quinch.
Yeah. I think
He's gone from a bit of a runaway idiot to now he's a bit more
getting involved
team.
a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think where we're up to in the podcast, I think the spoilers. Yeah, I think where we're up to at the moment, he's still not the most effective in battle. I
mean, he found a
think
sword, so that's something.
I think he's less problematic.
He is less problematic.
I don't think he'd be. I don't think Quinch of episode 105 would be sticking his finger in a dead body's mouth.
No,
You say that.
Davos changed a lot though, because like episode 1, level 1 rogue, pretty decent thief. Episode 105, level 6 rogue, shit thief. That's a big change.
I've gone from trying to help my team to pickpocketing them to just not giving a shit anymore.
Most likely to succeed.
Oh, at what?
I think it's got to be Krill, isn't it? Because he just gets everyone else's success.
Yeah, and he's made, isn't he though? Because that's the thing. Money makes money. He's from a privileged background, and
He's
all
a Tory.
set up. Yeah, he's big, massive Tory. Whereas the rest of us, well, Daboff and Dweezil are both socialist warriors from the streets. I don't know what that noise was.
The noise of socialism, that's what it was.
Quinch just does as he's told. Greg. What do you reckon Greg's voted is? I don't think Greg votes.
I reckon he just shows up and puts a tick in whatever box is top. I reckon he's that sort of chaotic.
Yeah. Just looks
Or spoils his paper. Not intentionally, probably.
Just use it for toilet paper.
Yeah. Thinks the booth is a cubicle to have a big old shit. Try and pull the curtain across. I reckon Greg's made it in a previous life, though. I reckon he's got an interesting history to him. He's a bit of a mystery. I reckon he's been rich. I reckon he's been poor. I reckon he's lived a very varied life.
Last one. I nearly gave a spoiler then. Last one. Most, and I'm going to ask this one for NPCs, I think.
Yeah.
Most unforgettable.
Oh, an Alki, obviously. Still waiting for Sam to fucking draw her. Madness.
Probably Zephyros.
Yeah. He's the one that left
Bum?
the biggest impression. Bum's
Oh
dead.
yeah, Bomb. Yeah. That's,
I didn't know if that was a
or
spoiler
even Bongers.
Who?
Bongers.
Oh,
Swayze.
Bong Rippington. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't feel like we're done with Swayze. He's appeared recently again, hasn't he? Dab off, you little dickhead, or whatever it was.
That was exactly what he said.
Yeah.
So eloquent. Obviously, very upper class. You big dickhead.
Yeah, I feel like we're not done with him.
Yeah.
That's going to be actually a last little question, actually. Yeah, I think those would have been the ones that I would have said for unforgettable.
My actual favourite my Dweezil's legitimate favourite unforgettable NPC is the Raffra though. she feels like she's like legit our mate. She's
She's probably the closest you've been to.
Yeah, she hasn't had any like big defining thing like the others. Like Zephyros is obviously a little bit strange, things like that. But she does seem the best, the one person you'd want to hang out with. I think she seems well-rounded and normal.
Yeah,
and I mean, it comes back somewhat to you being in tribal longest, getting involved in a lot more there, talking to a lot more people. There wasn't really anyone in, as you said, there's not many in tribal that you didn't get on with. Whereas previously there's been some tension from at least one of you with like the blacksmith at Amphel, for example.
There's a couple of legit good NPCs coming up though.
Yeah,
in Yartar.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a fellow with a market stall.
And someone on the floor as well, perhaps.
Yeah.
What? Okay, this is my last story. This is my last question before we go. Very quick one. Somewhat similar to a question we asked earlier. But what is there any story threads that are ongoing? And you're happy. You know, this could be anything that has or hasn't happened. Any story threads that have happened that you're expecting / wanting to return? So you said there about Aldrich Swayze and Bong Rippington. Is there anything else that seems to be sort of open ended that you're looking forward to or hoping comes back? I guess.
Well, back to the book that Dweezil got from Hyeth. There's more to that surely, and Bong Rippington. Dweezil is. We're still looking forward to maybe with the Harpers. That's still a thread that needs to be pulled on.
Yeah, I was about to say that we've just met them, haven't we, in the podcast? Looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah, just learned it. Yeah. It's interesting though, because some things that you think are absolutely done and dusted with, then just come back even in a small way, like Narth's ugly wife being the ex-wife of the guy that owned the general store in Nightstone, like how on it we were mucking around, and then all of a sudden I found myself having to tell this woman that her ex-husband was dead, and that was just out of the blue, completely out of the blue. So anything could happen again. Oh God, I know. I would be very surprised if you didn't find some way to bring Analki into the story again at some point.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just because it's become not even a thing really so much on the podcast as much as a thing just in our group. Chat and
the behind the scenes jokes and the like. Yeah.
Anything for you, Luke? Anything else lingering around for you?
I'm curious as to what is in. Is it in the coach house? In one of the coaches underneath the seat? That was the guy at the trailer park or whatever it was?
Dars,
yeah. He told me about there was some like hidden treasure or something. I'm curious to see where that goes. I think that's it really from my point of view. That's the only thing specific. Obviously, Swayze, to see where that goes and the curse and stuff. That seems somewhat linked, or at least he knows about it and has kind of left me alone because the curse is kind of doing his job for him, or he's enjoying the torment so much.
Yeah, I think he gets the impression that he can't do anything to you because of the curse. Like he can't touch you because of this curse, sort of thing. More than sort of anything else.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where that goes.
But it's very interesting you say this. A little bit behind the scenes for you, Stuart. You mentioned about the ex-husband thing.
Yeah.
Because very recently I've added in. Well, I've been writing two things into the story that do stretch back quite far. So it'll be quite interesting to see if they are things that you pick up on, if they're things that, are well received, I guess. Because I everything that's happening, I like picking stuff up and sort of trying to weave, even if it doesn't really mean anything, just trying to give the world a little bit more life, I guess, trying to fill it out so that it feels like they're not just a series of unconnected things, that there's actually some reason why some of these people you come across. Cool. Lovely. All right. That's all I've got. Anything else you two want to say? Anything else you want to chat about?
No, just thank you to everyone for listening, really.
Yeah.
It means a lot. We're not a big podcast, are we? We're all right. We do fine, but we're still at that point where we kind of notice everyone that's been listening since the start. We haven't got big enough where it's like a big mass of people. We still appreciate every single person.
I just want to do my, Dweezil does his inspiring leadership. I just, to say that essentially what this podcast has done has meant that I've grown like pathetically close to the other men on the podcast, some of which I knew fairly well beforehand. Nate and MJ I knew fairly well beforehand, and the other three lads I only vaguely knew, and quite absolutely without any hint of irony, the five men that we record this podcast with every week are just my best mates. I love every single one of them. They are beautiful people, and that extends out to other people that I have met through this podcast. People that if we didn't do this podcast, we would never have met. Who I've now met in real life, who I play D&D with on the regular and Pathfinder with on the regular, and even other people that this podcast has brought me closer to. It's been like I hope that people enjoy listening to this podcast, but regardless, what I get from this podcast is absolutely immeasurable. It's made the most wonderful friends. And I want to thank all of those people for being in my life in what has been for everyone a very difficult couple of years, and it's been an absolute lifeline. It really has, and the everyone involved in the podcast and the listeners and the friends that we've met along the way, the real treasure. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has actually. Like the community we've kind of latched onto, I guess, or kind of made a little bit of our own.
Infiltrated.
Yeah. Do I get curse damage for that?
Yeah.
Mate?
Yeah.
Shit thiefed.
Yeah, we've shit thiefed our way into.
But it is true. I mean, it is true. Had we not had a podcast, if us, six had just decided to play on our own, I don't know about you, Stuart, but I don't feel like I'd be any part of this community on Twitter. I don't know if I'd be seeking out people to reply to. It's just not who I am, not the sort of way I am. So I don't know if my gaming knowledge and experience would have ever extended beyond this six people. Maybe a couple of the other local lads around that are a bit nerdy and stuff like that, but it would have never grown to what it is now, and having friends all over the country and having resources from people in other countries. You think of some of the fans that listen to us are literally in other countries and other continents. And to a person, they're all great people that I get on very, very well. I can't think of any of our followers that I go, dickhead. I genuinely like.
Hang on. Come on, we've got to be able to think of one. Connor.
Is that just because he said that Chris looks about 10 years younger than he is?
Yeah, absolutely. And didn't say nice things about me. Yeah.
No. But yeah, that's been the best part of this. I think it's been great playing with you guys, but that would have happened anyway. We would have had this game anyway.
Yeah.
But I think having the podcast has made it just mean that certainly myself, Stuart, Luke, the rest of the gang, whatever they're getting from it. But it's just meant that it's just opened up the obsession for me more than probably if we just played on our own. God knows what our game would be like if it was just the six of us and no sort of outside assistance and stuff like that. So
Do you think we'd still be playing if we weren't recording it?
I think the only thing would have made the scheduling, like now, because we've got a podcast to release, it means we have to record, if that makes sense. Whereas if it just been down to, there's a good film on the cinema tonight, I want, do you mind if I not play tonight? I think it would have made it easier for people to dip in and out.
Yeah, I think it'd been a lot slower paced,
but equally, then I think we would have installed something where we sort of said, look, if one person dips out, then we'll just play on without that person.
Yeah.
So,
so
we might have finished by now. Without the podcast, we might have finished.
True, very true. But yeah, I think Stuart put that quite well about the community we've made and the friends we've made along the way and all that stuff.
Everyone who heard that gets a D10 extra temporary hit points as well.
Awesome. Brilliant.
Nice.
Well, thank you for joining me, you two wonderful fellows. And thank you for everything you do for the podcast. And thank you for being the wonderful role players. And I also want to thank Sam, MJ, and Mike, who aren't here and who are enjoying themselves in sunnier climates, for being wonderful members of the group as well. I don't want them to feel that they're being left out just because they're not on this.
But you don't want them to feel that they are, but they very much are.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, exactly. I just don't, I just don't want them to feel it.
Yeah. It's not...
We've not thanked you yet, Nate, for your amazing DMing.
Behave. I don't need thanking.
Oh, it's like herding cats. It's like ridiculous. Trying to keep us lot in line. It's mental.
Well,
and the homebrew stuff and everything else.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as good as it is without you as well.
Nate's crying, everyone. Nate's crying.
Thank you.
He is.
It's a job I didn't want. Particularly when it first
not how speeches normally start, Nate. Don't think that'll fly at the Oscars. Fucking hated that job.
It's a job I didn't want up front, and would have quite happily dodged had I felt that there was someone more willing to really go for it. But I struggled with it. But now 2 years in, I'm loving it. I threw out a tweet this week saying, it's really annoying that the last couple of weeks I've been doing quite a lot of prep, like setting up the next few sessions. Realistically, there's quite a lot coming your way, in terms of both story and side quests. And now I'm just sitting here, like, I think that's why I wanted to do this tonight, because like I'm now just sitting here waiting for everyone to come back from holiday so we can actually start it again. That's where I am with my DM process now, that I'm just itching to just get the next thing. Where we are in the story is, it's not the nicest part of the story, and there's certainly a point that we get past, and then suddenly it's going to just hopefully snowball, and we're going to get into some crazy shit. But that doesn't mean that there's not fun bits between here and that point that I want to try and do and run through. So yeah, I'm loving being the DM of this group. Just it's a shame that everyone fucks off on holiday and leaves us behind. But there you go.
Forgets their audio.
Yeah.
Who said that? Don't know where that came from.
It certainly wasn't Sam, because we could hear it. Right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I don't know why we're waving.
Because it's fun, isn't it? Bye. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button on your favourite podcast app to ensure you don't miss any future instalments of Dice and Desire. And in the meantime, if you want to interact with us, come and find us on Twitter and Instagram @Dice and Desire.